Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Mike D'Ambrosio, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome into Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio, real estate professional, and your host, Laura Pesavento, with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate teams here. Laura, how you doing?
I am awesome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and welcome back in.
Thank you.
And we are on the Monday show, as we will be this year on Mondays, and Joe and I will be hosting on Tuesdays together. So you'll be hearing me Mondays and Tuesdays to get your week started right. We hope you are enjoying the new podcast format. Same great info and education all of our listeners are accustomed to, with the benefit of minimal commercial interruptions. So that's what's awesome about the podcast series. And you can download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or simply go to reradiolive.com. And you can make sure to get our app, the RE Radio Live app, in the iTunes store, and follow the show and rate the show and give us good reviews. So we love to get your good reviews and feedback. And please reach out for all things real estate or podcast related. Don't hesitate to reach out, MikeDsells.com. That's MikeDsells.com. Or you can always email me, Mike at reradiolive.com, or text in 408-630-0101, 408-630-0101. And we love hearing from you guys. That's how we come up with a lot of our content and topics and guests. We got a great lineup of people that we're going to be setting up for the coming months, Laura, and we're just super excited about it, right?
I am totally excited about it. Good information.
Yeah, so today it's just us, and we're going to be talking about...
But isn't that enough?
I guess that should be
You
enough.
say it like it's just us.
It's just us. Like
it's all us.
Little old us. So today we're going to be talking about 7 home fixes you must complete before selling. And not everyone that's listening to the podcast is selling, but a lot of you own homes. These are things you can do to your home if you're not planning on selling. These are things you can do to your home if you're planning on buying and living in a home. You can do these home fixes, but these are some things that I think are really important, not only to sell your home, but to keep the home looking nice and not like a dump, and making sure it's
that's pretty straight
good.
up.
You like that?
Yeah,
I'm
but you know what?
Guy.
Even before that, Mike, what you always preach is home wellness, right? So really listen closely, listeners, because these 7 things are good things to do. However, if you keep up with your maintenance, you won't have 7 things.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Before we get to that, I did want to touch on, we haven't done stats or inventory for a long time, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this and bore people with stats, but really this is really interesting, because right now, as we're sitting in Santa Clara County, California, which is one of the most populous counties in the state, and this is the heart of Silicon Valley. And so right now, as we look at actual homes for sale in the entire county, there's 496 houses for sale in the entire county, which is...
Wait, where's that? Boing. Where's that?
Which is like nothing.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. That cannot be right.
Yeah, so it's very low. I mean, this is standard, not standard, but this is typical for the time of the year. This
really?
Is not,
why?
Because of the fact that we just got through the holidays. People are barely getting back to work, getting back to school. So once, we always know that Super Bowl is kind of a weekend that things start really picking up. We'll start seeing more inventory come on this week and next week. And then after that, after Super Bowl, we'll start seeing it pop up. But if you look at both single-family condos and townhouses...
That's an amazing number.
What are we at? It bumps up, including condos and townhouses, another couple hundred. So it's very low right now. It's like in the 600s. But I would guess by the peak of the season, May, June, July, I guess we're going to be in the 1,500 to 1,700 range, which is almost near healthy. We need about 2,000 to 3,000 units in the market to be healthy. So that's kind of where I see it going this year. But
so, Mike, you've been a real estate agent for 9 years now, right? historically, the whole Super Bowl indicator this time of the year, that's kind of going to predict what's going to happen. What are you predicting for this Super Bowl? I mean, you've seen past years and you've seen the inventory. What do you think this year with like the new president and all that? What are you predicting?
I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to win.
That is not what I was asking you.
I'm predicting a relatively similar year to last year, other than the fact that interest rates have risen a little bit already and will probably rise a little bit more during this year. I think that's really going to be the main difference from this year to last year. We'll see how that's going to affect people's mindset and purchasing during 2017. I don't think. And again, we live in an area that it's not.
I know there's a lot of construction going on right now, but I'm just thinking like the 5-year. Like I'm really kind of like looking at the end of the tunnel, and 5 years pops up to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that.
I'm just saying. No, what I'm saying is,
much.
I think that's kind of going to be like. People should start thinking like that, just because I think that's when things are going to just be like new construction's going to be done for the most part.
Yeah,
BART's in, Apple and all those high-tech places.
I think it's aggressive to think that BART's going to be in by that time.
Really?
It's very big project. I mean, we're talking about going underground for miles in downtown. I mean, it's a really, really big project. We do have a lot of new construction projects slated for downtown San Jose, but most of those won't get built. Just because they're approved doesn't always mean they get built. So, but if they all do, we're talking about like 9,000 more units coming onto the market, which is that's a lot of units. So I don't think they're all going to come on.
That's a lot of people.
Some of the big developers are predicting somewhat of a downturn in the coming years, whether it's 2018, 2019, I don't know. But we'll see. We will see. We do have the jobs.
Don't you know that?
So... What?
I thought you knew that.
I don't know. What the hell do I know? No, I mean, it's hard to predict out that far.
But you think it's going to be the same, like pretty much stable like last year after the Super Bowl?
As long as the job market stays good and the stock market doesn't take, a huge downturn. I was going to use another type of word, but it doesn't take
a podcast, can't you?
Yeah.
Or is it too close to home?
We're trying to keep it clean over here. We're trying to keep our PG rating over here.
Okay.
But, so I don't know. I think it's just going to be it's going to be a steady year this year. So with all that being said, switching topics, or to the topic of today, we're talking 7 home fixes and even fixes that you got to do before selling. And I know we've had a lot of people reach out to the show that are thinking about selling, looking at selling. What does it mean? How do you get the home ready? And these are questions we get from potential sellers all the time. One of the first steps of the process of selling your home is having your real estate agent over to talk about the things they might need to do in order to sell the house and prep it and get it ready, make it look good. The days of throwing a crappy house on the market with nothing done to it and it looking is not happening anymore. Don't think about it. If you want, you're not going to get the price you want.
You're not going to get the highest.
So, and if people think, oh, well, the market's hot and I can do whatever I want. But no, we're noticing now as the market gets a little more normal, you can't really do that. So you got to really make sure the house is pretty dialed in and priced right in order for it to sell. So some of the takeaways I want you to have for today is, these are going to be things that fix to sell. Structural stuff is just as important as cosmetic. And I think that should be a pretty obvious one. And give buyers what they want. Create the wow factor. Like I said, just because the market is good and it's better than most of the country doesn't mean that you can just throw anything on the market and expect it to sell like a hotcake. So, obviously the main things, clearing clutter and depersonalizing and staging and all that type of stuff is good. But let's really get into the main points of today is structural and mechanical things. So it's not necessarily the sexiest thing to talk about, but buyers are going to be looking at these big ticket items, especially for example, the age and condition of the roof. Roof is big. That's structural. Air conditioning and heating systems, mechanical, water heater, electrical panels, and pipes. So those are really the big, when you're talking about the bones of the house, those are really very important. Roof, air conditioning, heating, water heater, electrical panel, and pipes, really the things that make the house go around. That's going to be really important in order to fix or make sure it's fixed, because if you have a buyer coming in and you have a report that says they're going to have to replace the water heater the day after they move in. They're looking at a couple $1,000 right there, and that's probably going to affect what they offer you for the house. If they need to replace a roof, that's like an $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 job. It's going to affect how the buyers look at the house and what they offer for the house. So I think that, and then the second layer to all of that is even with appraisers, they're notorious for calling out roofs needing to be replaced, or if there's no heating in the property, you need to put in a heating system. So if you have people that are, and we're going to be talking a little bit about FHA financing tomorrow with Joe, but if an appraiser calls that out, you might have buyers not qualify for financing if a property needs a complete roof replacement, or it needs Section 1 termite clearance, or if it needs any sorts of structural things. FHA financing might not approve that buyer's loan, and therefore you might lose a good amount of buyers on the property. So mechanical and structural things are very, very important to getting the house ready to sell. I understand they're not always the cheapest thing, but it's going to only help you in the long run. Thoughts on that?
No, it all makes sense.
Yeah, good. So exterior. You're
the pro. You're the pro.
Good. All right, next. So the exterior, how does your home look? Is there rot? When was the last time was it painted, et cetera? We'll get into a little bit more of that on the other side of the break, and the rest of the 7 things you need to do to complete on your home before selling. But we're going to take a quick break. Laura Pesavento with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate team is here. I'm Mike D'Ambrosio, your real estate professional for Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. Stick around. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Do you know Mike D'Ambrosio, reputable real estate professional in the Silicon Valley? He was born and raised here in Silicon Valley. He's very excited to be working in a geographic area that he loves and knows well. He firmly believes that this is the best place to live in the entire country. He specializes in Bay Area real estate. Are your family's needs changing? Are your parents in need of changing living conditions? Are your children first-time home buyers? Do you just want to expand your income revenue stream through real estate investments? He would be happy to meet with you and discuss your options while explaining the advantages of using his team to expand your opportunities of owning real estate in the Bay Area. He's dedicated to providing you quality, honesty, and creativity in every real estate transaction. He's highly recommended by many for his attention to his clients' needs and by making sure that your experience is as enjoyable and as painless as possible. Real estate transactions are not small tasks, and that's why they should be done efficiently, smartly, and as thoroughly as possible. That's his promise to you. Whether you're buying or selling, let him put his expertise and experience to work for you and make your transaction a smooth and enjoyable one. The time is now. Don't let another opportunity slip by. Call him directly at 408-630-0101. Email Mike at MikeDSells.com or visit his website, MikeDSells.com. Cal BRE number 0184192. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back in. This is Mike D'Ambrosio with Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast. Laura Pesavento with the D'Ambrosio Real Estate team is here.
Hello.
Causing a ruckus, and we're talking about 7 home fixes you must complete before selling. And again, this pertains to all the home sellers we've been talking to through the show. Even if you're planning on buying a home, these things are important for making sure your home is healthy. Or if you own a home right now, also, again, these things are healthy. I actually just had a home inspection on my house.
Yes, you did.
A couple weeks ago from my good old buddy Gregorio, who is our home inspector. And he's going to be on the show probably in a couple weeks, I think. Probably bring him on with Tim, the termite guy, so we can have both those dudes on talking about termites and home inspections and all things that are going to freak you out about your house.
I thought you were going to say Tim, the termite man Taylor.
That's actually, I'm surprised why he hasn't used that term. That's pretty funny.
The termite. Like
So
that
good.
plug, Tim? There
Yeah.
you have it.
All right, great. Okay, so let's get back into, before we took a break, the first one was structural and mechanical things like your roof, air, AC and heat, water heater, electrical panel, electrical, and the plumbing. Okay, so those are really important pieces. Again, I understand that those are going to be the more expensive things to fix in your house, especially if you have something that's in really bad disrepair, but it's going to be something that you're going to get more money out of in the end of the day if you do decide to fix that in order to sell the property. Number two, we started on this, the exterior. How does the exterior of your home look? Is there rot? When's the last time you painted? Are there giant stucco cracks that need attention? Really, when buyers are looking at your house, or just anyone in general looking at your house, first impressions start from the outside, and they start there. So you really need to make sure your outside is dialed in and looks really good.
Curb appeal.
Yeah, curb appeal is huge. We've heard that. It's one of the biggest buzzwords in real estate.
Yeah, and bring your lawn back, because now that we're getting all this water, there's no reason why you can't throw any seeds down.
We're bringing sexy back here on the Real Estate Radio Live podcast.
Heard that.
Bring the lawn back, too.
Thank you.
And on that note, thank you for the wonderful segue, Laura. What a treat. Landscaping. Speaking of the exterior,
I'm good because I'm not even looking at the list.
How does your landscaping look? Are there plants overgrown, wilted,
California
worn?
native?
Are you using green spray paint to make your lawn look good? Really the minimum things you need to do to prep your house for sale is plant a new. Make sure your lawn looks good. You don't have to plant a new one if it looks good. But prep, put some, fresh bushes in there and fresh things. Do all of that to make sure that the house looks really good. Okay?
I agree.
Number 4, cosmetic. So, again, you have to go through the entire inside in detail. Are there dents, dings in the walls, scratch moldings, worn paint? Oftentimes the minimum things, I always have different tiers of
what gives value.
What gives value and what sellers need to do. Because oftentimes sellers usually have 3 different types of budget. Number 1 is they have no budget, so they can't do anything.
That's not really considered a category then if there's no budget.
That's not really a category because we need to do something. Number 2, like the low level, the bare minimum I think you should do is, unless you just painted your house like 6 months prior or something, the bare minimum you should do is paint the inside of the house, put in new carpet, or refinish your hardwood floors if they're worn, and stage a property. That's like the bare minimum. If you do those couple of things, your house is going to look a ton different. And make sure the outside looks good. Prep the outside. Then it can get into the top tier of things, which is all of that. And then if you have a dated kitchen or if you have dated bathrooms, redoing those. And those are really, and then you're getting into a pretty significant remodel. But again, doing those types of things, it's almost like a mini flip of a house. Like if you put this much money into it by remodeling it and bringing it up to modernization, here's what you're going to be looking at as far as a resale value as opposed to selling it as is and not getting as much. So we always go over those numbers with sellers and making sure they fully understand what they're getting themselves into and what they need to do in order to maximize the profit of their house.
That makes sense.
Okay, so that was a tangent. I got off on cosmetic, but an important tangent because... And even, one of the things that I just got a new front door, the front door is huge. If your front door maybe needs a new coat of paint, needs new hardware, or just you need a new front door, like super important. It's one of the first things,
impressions.
Yeah, first things you look at. And surprisingly enough, not just the front door, but even your garage door too. Very important.
Oh, I agree with that. And your front door does look very nice.
Thank you very much,
Good
Laura.
job.
Thank you. Okay, number 5, a kitchen. So this area, obviously always huge. You watch all these HGTV shows and all this other stuff.
Especially if you're ethnic and you spend a lot of time in the kitchen, like us.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be ethnic to spend time in the kitchen.
I'm just saying, a lot of people like to cook. We like to hang out. We like to eat all night long.
What are we doing over here?
That's what I'm talking about.
Pasta. What are we doing?
Do we not hang out in the kitchen, Mike?
Yes, we do hang out in the kitchen. So kitchen's very big. Again, like I said, you see it on all these shows, open concepts, stainless steel, granite, all those types of things are really important to home buyers nowadays, especially ones that are they're not looking for a project and looking for something that's turnkey. Nice kitchen is important. Number 6 is bathrooms. simple and clean, sprucing up your bathrooms, making sure, everything looks good, your grout looks good, your caulking looks good, your new plumbing, light fixtures, your mirrors, everything in the bathrooms needs to look clean, simple. You don't want it to look dirty.
Don't make it look like you got everything from the secondhand store either, and everything's different.
Exactly.
Because it does make a difference.
Right. And number 7 really is flooring. I think it's super important. I mentioned this in the cosmetic part, but flooring, what you walk on really creates a lot of value. And you really need to make sure that your flooring, there's a lot of low-cost options with flooring, but whether you're doing laminate or hardwood, carpet, anything, that's going to really put that wow factor into your house, if you're going to be doing flooring, is super important. So those are really what I see as the top 7 things. Do you have any questions on that, Laura?
Yeah, I do, actually. When you talk about the flooring and carpet versus hardwood. You okay there?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just clearing that was a lot of speaking.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I think someone who's just going to put carpet in will probably put a low-grade carpet. And if the hardwood is really nice and, doable, would you recommend that they do slap on some yucky carpet as opposed to keeping the hardwood? What sells better?
No, I think hardwood sells better.
Yeah, I do too.
Hardwood or a nice laminate that looks like hardwood, or even a nice laminate that doesn't look like cheap laminate, I think will sell better than carpet. I do think carpet...
isn't it more of a preference? What kind,
Yeah, I mean, hardwood or hard surfaces are easier to keep clean. They're just easier to maintain. Carpet is harder. It gets dirtier easier. It traps things.
Yeah, I think the trend to me, what I see, people are going towards hardwood. That's why I asked.
Carpet's not. I'm not saying carpet's bad. I mean, I would recommend that you at least try to hardwood all the main areas of the house and keep carpet in the bedrooms for comfort factor. Because if you have hardwood
and warmth,
and warmth. If you have hardwood in a bedroom, most people are going to put an area rug in there or something. So I would suggest, if you're going to be redoing your house, to put hardwood throughout, the hallways and the family room, living room, kitchen, and then having carpet in the bedrooms.
Okay.
For that. So
thanks for your input.
Does that answer your question?
It sure does, Mr. D'Ambrosio.
That's wonderful. Does anyone sense the sarcasm on the podcast yet? Okay. So we just got a couple minutes left. I just wanted to kind of wrap up by saying, again, these home fixes, not only are they things that you should look into before selling your home, but they're things that you need to look at for if you're going to be buying a home and you're going to be moving in. And remember, if you are buying a home and you're planning on doing some fixing up, I recommend trying to do it before you move in. I know everyone's got, maybe they're moving out of their apartment or their rental, and they might have strict timelines, but the easiest thing to do is try to get that done before you move in, because it's hard to do all this stuff when you're living there. I just went through a couple of different remodels in my house, and let me tell you, it was definitely a pain. Living there, painting the inside of the house and doing different things with the bath. We remodeled our master, and it's just a lot to be living in a place when you're going through all that. So again,
it is tough.
These things, going through this, whether you're selling, whether you're buying, or even looking at these things through the eyes of a buyer. Has the seller done this? Have they done this to their house? Have they done the structural and mechanical things that you're looking for? Does the house look good? Because if the house looks like hell, you're gonna have to guess that structurally the seller probably didn't give a damn either. You know what I mean? And that's what buyers think about. If a house doesn't look good,
on that,
if they don't look, it doesn't look good. What else are they forgetting about?
Good point.
So I think that's really important in all of that. All right. So if you want to reach out, just a reminder, you can always reach out at MikeDsells.com. We have a ton of information on our website about buying, selling, home valuations, about the team. We have a bunch of information on Real Estate Radio Live. You can go to RERadiolive.com, download the podcast, download our app. We also love if you can go and rate the show. You can go to the podcast site and give us a rating. We love to hear from you guys. You can always email me, Mike at RERadiolive.com. That's Mike at RERadiolive.com. Text me, call me, 408-630-0101. Laura, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's fun.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're excited about 2017. If you have any other selling questions or wants or needs, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I'm Mike D'Ambrosio, real estate professional for Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast. Take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at reradiolive.com.